right, you ready? Desk Hirsch, you ready? Very good. Ready? Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call this meeting to order. This is the Village Council, the Village of Ridgewood. This is a regular public meeting. The date is August 10th, 2022, and the time is 8:01 p.m. Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided by a posting on the bulletin board in Village Hall, by mail to the Ridgewood News, the Record, and by submission to all persons entitled to same as provided by law, a schedule including the date and time of this meeting. Roll call.
Councilwoman Perrin. Here. Councilwoman Reynolds.
Here.
Deputy Mayor Seaton.
Here.
Councilman Vagianos.
Here.
And Mayor Newton.
Here. Please stand for the flag salute. We have a room full of first responders, so please join us in a moment of silence on behalf of the service of all of our first responders. Okay, thank you. I move the bills, claims, and vouchers and statements of funds on hand as of July 31st, 2022 be accepted as submitted.
Second. Perrin.
Yes.
Reynolds.
Abstain.
Seaton.
Yes.
Vagianos.
Yes.
And Newton.
Yes. I move that the Village Council minutes of May 4th, May 25th, June 1st, June 22nd, and July 13th, 2022, having been reviewed by the Village Council and now available in the Village Clerk's office, be approved as submitted.
Second.
Perrin.
Yes.
Reynolds.
Yes.
Seaton.
Yes.
Vagianos.
Yes.
And Newton.
Yes. With that, we have two proclamations this evening. Councilman Vagianos will start with the awareness of Ovarian Cancer Month.
Yes. Whereas ovarian cancer is called the silent killer because its symptoms are often vague or subtle, making ovarian cancer a leading cause of cancer death among women and the leading cause of gynecologic cancer death in the United States. And whereas more than 20,000 women in the United States are diagnosed in the early stages of the disease, and approximately 15,000 of them will die from it each year. And whereas the Kaleidoscope of Hope Foundation, known as the KOH, a local nonprofit group founded by Gail McNeil of Chatham Township, who was inspired by her own experiences, raises and increases awareness of the disease and its symptoms, and wishes to remind the public that September is Ovarian Cancer Awareness Month. And whereas KOH has partnered with the National Ovarian Cancer Coalition to support the Turn the Towns Teal campaign. And whereas there is no early detection test for ovarian cancer, which is why the Turn the Towns Teal campaign is so very critical in promoting awareness of the symptoms of ovarian cancer, fighting the disease, and supporting the women who bravely carry on the fight. Now therefore be it resolved that the Village Council of the Village of Ridgewood calls upon citizens to raise ovarian cancer awareness, which will help Americans live longer, healthier lives, and hereby proclaims September 2022 as Ovarian Cancer Awareness Month as we rededicate ourselves to the pursuit of new and better ways to prevent, detect, and treat this devastating disease.
Thank you, Councilman Vagianos. And Deputy Mayor Seaton will be declaring September National Preparedness Month.
Thank you, Mayor. Whereas National Preparedness Month creates an important opportunity for every resident of the Village of Ridgewood to prepare their homes, businesses, schools, institutions of higher learning, houses of worship, and community-based organizations of any type of emergency, including natural disasters and potential terrorist attacks. And whereas investing in preparedness can reduce fatalities and economic devastation in our communities and in our nation, whether the emergency is large scale or a small local event. And whereas National Preparedness Month is a part of a government governmental effort to have federal, state, local, tribal, territorial, private, and volunteer agencies working to increase public activities in preparing for emergencies and to educate individuals on how to take action. And whereas emergency preparedness is a personal responsibility, and every resident of the Village of Ridgewood is urged to make preparedness a priority. And whereas the 2022 National Preparedness Month theme, A Lasting Legacy, the life you've built is worth protecting. Prepare for disasters to create a lasting legacy for you and your family. And whereas disaster preparedness response and recovery requires the efforts of the entire village. Now therefore be it resolved that the Village Council of the Village of Ridgewood, Bergen County, New Jersey, hereby proclaims September 2022 as National Preparedness Month and encourages all residents and businesses to prepare now for future emergencies and to work together to create a better prepared community.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. And with that, we will be joined on the floor by council colleagues for the swearing in of our two police officers, William Malone and Christopher Schuman. Okay. Is that working? Or no? All right, we're going to start with, can everybody hear me? Okay, good, very good. I want to be heard. We'll start with William Malone, police officer. And who will be joining you up here? Where's your... Is that better? Oh, there we go. Why don't we kind of turn a little face? Okay. Sorry, Mike. And you're going to raise your right hand. And you'll repeat after me. Oh, yeah. Very good. I do solemnly swear to support the Constitution of the United States and to support the Constitution of the State of New Jersey, and that I will faithfully, impartially, and justly perform all the duties of office of police officer according to the best of my ability, so help me God. Congratulations. And now we have Officer, is it working? Is this, oh, there it is, okay. Officer Schuman, Christopher. Let's see. You want to help? Okay. All right. But that's it. Just looked it up. do solemnly swear to support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey, and that I will faithfully, impartially, and justly perform all the duties of office of police officer according to the best of my ability, so help me God. Okay, very good.
It's on. Thank you, though. We're on. I'll speak louder.
Yeah, maybe just get close. Okay.
All right, with that, we're going to go to comments from the public, not to exceed 3 minutes per person. Please remember to state your name and address for the record.
Hi, I'm Jerry Maurer from 137 Hope Street, and I'm here with several of my neighbors who have been affected by the flooding over the past year or so.
Let's just let that noise. And Jerry, let me just say this. We have you're welcome to make comments now, but I encourage you to also participate. You're here for the public hearing.
Yes.
So once we open that ordinance, we open up the public hearing. You can all come up and speak to that as well. But why don't you just start all over again, name and address for the record, and just start so we can hear you.
Sure. My name is Jerry Maurer. I live at 137 Hope Street, and I'm here with a number of my neighbors who have been affected by the flooding issues due to drainage problems of stormwater on the Hope Street area. Representation from the middle of the street where I live, southern part of the street, but down by Spring and Hope, and also up by Dayton and Hope. So we have a broad range of people that have been working together to keep track of what's happening on the block and letting people know. But primarily I'm here to say, let me take this off. Thank you to Mayor Knudsen and the whole council, and also Heather and Chris for advancing the proposition, the ordinance that will be voted on tonight, because it does allocate not an insubstantial amount of money to a number of places in the village, including Hope Street and a couple of others that are having similar problems, and that will be a good start to solving this problem. I would, however, because the ordinance is not specific as to the locations and the nature of the work, ask that Chris provide the group that's affected on Hope Street and perhaps the other streets as well. Some information, some greater detail, much the same way he did about a year ago in November on the flooding, the floodplain issues that he and the assistant engineer, Jovan, gave information on. And that worked out really well. We had a Q&A, and even though we are not in a floodplain, he spent a lot of time working with us and giving us the basics about how our drainage systems work and the directions that water flows and so forth. So that's something that we would like to get from him when he's got his list of projects together. If we could recreate that, it would be very helpful and let us know really where we stand. We've learned quite a bit over the past year. And I think we can have some meaningful input with him and have confidence that we're moving in a good direction. But once again, thank you very much for putting this forward.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Good evening, Ann Burton Walsh, 112 South Irving. I wanted to thank you for your discussion last week and your addressing and looking into this issue of sidewalks and trees, or rather trees that are causing sidewalk issues that can be saved with sidewalk adjustments such as roundouts and ramp-ups. I'm very hopeful that the policy that the council decides on will not burden homeowners with further expense on top of the already high cost of sidewalk replacement and repair. It's already a financial burden on residents to pay a very high per slab cost to repair the network of sidewalks that the village requires that we maintain, and that some of us might be fine to do without. I mean, I like sidewalks more than the average person, but I like trees more, especially these days. And living on a side street, you know, people in wheelchairs they are always in the street, my mother included. So many of us on side streets really don't need the sidewalks. And so it's not tenable that on top of the thousands of dollars for regular sidewalk repair, that residents should have to also bear the additional cost of the roundouts and ramp-ups to preserve trees that we all benefit from and which are now recognized as village assets in our protective tree ordinance. As I mentioned in my email, I've heard from a neighbor on South Irving, and this is hearsay, but I do think it's worth looking into, and it makes sense that this is happening and could happen more depending on what policy is decided on. This neighbor says that he knows some residents who haven't waited for the village to assess their street trees. They're simply removing them themselves, likely to avoid future sidewalk costs. And I haven't been able to verify this, but I think it's plausible, and I think it's important that our policy does not encourage this kind of conduct. And also, you know, regardless of whether the information is true, it seems that if the village begins requiring residents to pay for sidewalk adjustments, you know, roughly $1,000 for a sidewalk adjustment to preserve a tree, that we will see people preemptively taking down their street trees. As you all know, and I think we're all on the same page on this, healthy, mature trees are a vital part of our village infrastructure, as our draft master plan acknowledges. Solutions to save these village assets should come from our village tree-related budgets, because saving trees will save money from the village's removal and replanting budgets. And such mature trees, mature healthy shade trees, are of incomparably greater value than their replacements. So please allocate funds from the current tree budget for sidewalk adjustments to preserve mature, healthy trees that are providing shade and other numerous benefits right now, rather than costly removal. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Ann.
Denise Lima, 319 East Glen Ave. It's been a while since I've been here. A few things. July 4th was great. The parade was great. Great to see it. The fireworks were great. Better than Paramus. Dare I say it? Brag, brag, brag. Really, we go to Paramus every year as well. August has been a good month, a little hot. The dining in front of the restaurants have been great. People have been really courteous, working really well, really good. We've even this year taken a dip into the Graydon Pool, and it's been great. It's been clean, no qualms, no issues there. I still don't see ovarian cancer. Thank you for bringing that up. So I'm a 9-year survivor. There are no really symptoms. I encourage everybody to go get checked constantly, and you can survive. So it's great to bring that up. So thank you very much. I still don't see anything in the master plan yet, specifically to the historic preservation. I continue to see a lot of different colors on the buildings, ornamental flowers hanging from buildings. So I'm anxious to see what we're going to present for the master plan. I think it was presented at the planning board, but I still don't see anything online to review yet. So maybe I might have missed that. What I'm here for more specifically is to talk about the bridging of a conversation between the planning board and this council here. So what I've learned through my own efforts is that variances that are approved through the planning board and signed off should be enforced by the building code inspectors or engineers, but there isn't really a solid policy when you read our guidelines. There's not a solid policy. There's no artifacts that are required to sign off from an inspector. They're not going, oh, here's the variance, let me go inspect. And residents are just, we're susceptible, we're vulnerable. So I encourage, and the planning board is saying it's really, the managers and the council here, we really need to kind of dig into the code and look at how we can strengthen that and protect the residents, because the answer is not, well, then go sue your neighbor or go sue the developer. We look for you and the planning board to make the right decisions for the residents and make sure that those people are doing the right thing. And to that end, I'm also having trouble getting responses on who's doing what and who's supposed to be checking. And so I just think from a good customer service perspective, Heather, I ask that somehow we, especially on this event, it's been about 2 months, just getting people to respond to my emails or voicemails. So hope to see that on an agenda. Thank you.
Thank you, Denise. All right. Anyone else for public comment? All right, I'm going to close public comment, and 2 things I'm just going to touch on. Ann's comments about the trees. I had to take all of my council colleagues off of the email, so I wasn't in an OPMA violation, so they're unaware that I'm requested the village manager add it to our next work session agenda, so that we can talk about not just the part that residents are responsible for, the straight sidewalk, but what happens when they're asked to incur that far more expensive piece of the roundabout. So nobody knows that yet. They haven't seen the agenda, and I just can't be in an open violation, so everybody knows it now. And to Denise Lima, that's a very specific issue, and I'm, where Denise go? There you go. I'm obviously keenly aware, and certainly I think that the village attorney is aware, and just, and I think the issue that you're specifically talking about is that when there is an adopted resolution of approval that outlines specific conditions of an approval, who is then responsible for enforcement when that project proceeds? Because once we have the conditions of approval in place and we adopt a resolution at the planning board level, at a land use level, it's kind of, we send that presumably to the building department. So I'm going to ask the village attorney just to speak to it very quickly, because did he just chuckle?
No.
But I do know he's familiar,
Picked it
so
up.
he knows this situation, so go ahead.
Yeah, Denise, I'm not aware of the specific instances you're talking about or that you're referring to. But as a matter of the municipal land use law, the enforcement of planning board, zoning board application approvals and the conditions of those approvals is reliant on the zoning officer in the municipality. And that's pretty much pursuant to the municipal land use law, which is state legislation. So I think it's coordinated. I think it's just a matter of either making sure that when an approval comes through and there's certain conditions that are a little bit worrisome or troublesome, you put that on the radar for the zoning officer, and I think that might give them, one way of addressing it is to give them a heads up that it might be coming down, and you keep your eye on this one, and that's probably helpful. But there is a specific officer who has that obligation to enforce. So you can if you got any, Denise, you can send me an email or do something.
So, yeah, so in any event, we got it under control right now, we're good, and it's going back to the planning board anyway, and I believe that'll be in September, so we're good, and I appreciate those comments, and we'll continue to monitor that. All right, very good, I think that's it, and with that, we are going to ordinances, right?
No, manager's report.
Oh, I'm sorry.
The New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection has issued a statewide drought watch as of August 9th, yesterday. All residents and businesses are urged to voluntarily conserve water as persistent hot and dry conditions impact available water supplies. If the conditions do not improve, NJDEP will be forced to escalate from the current drought watch to drought warning or drought emergency classifications, which would implement mandatory water use restrictions statewide. While Ridgewood Water is currently at stage 2 of its water regulations, ongoing dry conditions with very little precipitation will continue to burden the system. To avoid going into further restrictions, all customers are asked to limit irrigation and comply with existing water regulations. Water conservation resources are available via NJDEP's Conserve Water website at njdep/conservewater/conserve water, or via Ridgewood Water at https://water.ridgewoodnj.net/water conservation. I want to thank all the Village of Ridgewood departments who participated in Touch a Truck during sidewalk sale days on Saturday. I know it was enjoyed by all who attended. I want to confirm the grading pool will be open through Labor Day. That includes the last week of August following the current hours. This information is also posted on our website. I also want to just remind everyone that Graden Pool is in the Recycle Coach app. So if you are a member of Graden Pool and want to be notified about whether, maybe closing the pool because of weather or because of lightning, please sign up for that because it's done in real time. And this way, you'll be able to know whether or not the pool is open or when it will open if there is a storm that has passed. Pickleball and tennis memberships are available through Community Pass. The hours for both pickleball and tennis are 8 a.m. to dusk. Nominating packets for Ridgewood residents who are registered voters and wish to run for a village council are available. They may be picked up at the village clerk's office in Village Hall during the hours of 8:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Monday through Friday. The deadline for filing completed nominating petitions is September 6th at 4 p.m. There are 2 positions open on the village council. It's a nonpartisan election, and they will be voted on at the November 8th municipal election during the general election. The newly elected council members will be sworn in and take office in January 2023. If you have any questions concerning the municipal election, you can direct them to Eileen Young in the village clerk's office or to myself. Current employment and volunteer opportunities are posted on the village website, which is ridgewoodnj.net. Green Ridgewood, Project Pride, and Ridgewood Green Team Advisory Committee are currently looking for new members. The deadline to apply is this Friday, August 12th. The village is also looking for laborers to pick up yard waste and leaves and for sanitation and recycling. The pay is $20 an hour, and it increases to $22 an hour if the person hired has a commercial driver's license. An update on the Zabriskie-Shedler house. There was a meeting this morning. Construction materials are scheduled to arrive this week, and construction is tentatively scheduled to begin next week. There is no update at this time on the land. We are still waiting to hear back from SHPO, the State Historic Preservation Office, as to whether or not they've accepted our modifications to the plans that we sent about 10 days to 2 weeks ago. Update on the paving by the county on Franklin, Godwin, Linwood Avenues, and Goffle Road. They are all in the county's Contract 3. It was awarded to Tilcom by the county. However, the county is waiting on information from them for the NJ Department of Transportation for review. Then a pre-construction meeting will be held, and approval from the New Jersey Department of Transportation must be obtained in order for Tilcon to start paving these roads. The county has indicated that they hope the paving can be done this year, but unfortunately, there is no guarantee. I will follow up with them in mid-September because they believe that they'll have additional information for me at that time. The Ridgewood Guild is sponsoring free movies in the parks. The final movie of the season, which is All About Eve, will be shown in Memorial Park at Van Ness Square on August 24th at 9 p.m. It is free to the public. Please bring a chair or a blanket to sit on. The Ridgewood Guild sponsors Music in the Night. It provides music in various locations in the Central Business District on Friday nights through Labor Day. Looking ahead, all village offices and departments will be closed on September 5th in observance of Labor Day. There will be no recycling or garbage pickup on that day, and the recycling center will also be closed. The Ridgewood Chamber of Commerce Car Show will be on September 9th from 6 to 9 p.m., East Ridgewood Avenue to Chestnut Street. And this is a great car show. It's one of the major shows in this area of New Jersey. So if you have a chance, please come out and look at all the wonderful cars. Coffee with the Council is on September 10th from 10 a.m. to noon at the Stable. This is a time for new residents to meet with the Village Council in an informal setting. And the Ridgewood Guild Music Fest is September 11th from 1 to 7 p.m. That's also at Memorial Park at Van Ness Square. There will be several bands as well as a beer garden and a variety of food for sale. Please bring a chair or a blanket. The Chamber of Commerce Farmers Market celebrating its 22nd anniversary. It's held Sundays from 8:30 a.m. to 2 p.m. on the west side of the New Jersey Transit train station parking lot through late October or early November. Village Council upcoming meetings are broadcast live from the Village Hall courtroom on the Village website and Channel 34 on FiOS. September 7th, September 28th, and October 3rd are Village Council work sessions. Those all begin at 7:30, and the Village Council public meeting in September is on September 14th. That's all I have.
Very good. Thank you. Councilwoman Perrin?
Thank you, Mayor. As the village manager mentioned, the Chamber of Commerce held its sidewalk sale days this weekend and had this theme in Van Ness Square of staycation. And there were performances by School of Rock, 2 dance demonstrations by Heart of Motion and Arthur Murray Dance Studio. And Chalk the Walk was also a lot of fun. And this morning at the Chamber of Commerce Directors Meeting, it was reported that the effect of that celebration, Sidewalk Sale Days, was pretty good, at least on the west side, hearing from retailers over there. And also at this meeting, it was expressed that people were kind of dismayed at the weeds that are downtown, and perhaps we could do some more enforcement of ordinances 249-24 and 249-2. Let's see, they're already planning for downtown for the holidays. They are looking for corporate sponsors. We also had a discussion about inflation and how that is affecting businesses in town. Shipping costs have doubled, and the merchants are really trying hard not to pass that along to their customers. Feed the Front Lines, another chamber initiative, is going to be restarting September 19th. So if you can volunteer as a driver, please sign up on Facebook at Feed the Front Lines. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you, Councilwoman Perrin. Councilman Vagianos?
I have nothing to report tonight.
Councilwoman Reynolds?
Is your microphone on? Sorry. Thank you. I don't have anything to report either.
Okay. Deputy Mayor?
Thank you, Mayor. The Shade Tree Commission met yesterday, and there should be a flurry of activity that people are going to see in and around the village regarding trees. So some of the work that's been going on has been the removal of ash trees. There's the emerald ash borer, as we know, has devastated a lot of trees in Ridgewood and in the area. It's moved up from the southern portion of the state, and it's come here. There was, I believe, 175 trees slated to be taken down this year, and most of that work is complete. There's a handful left. Some better news is that the tree plantings will begin this fall. There's 88 trees that are going to be planted in just the central business district, and that bid opening was this morning or this afternoon in the engineering office, I believe. So those trees in the downtown are kind of a special case, so they'll be planted according to all of the research that has been done over the years by the Shade Tree Commission. There will be a perforated tube that goes into the ground so additional water could get to the roots. The soil will be completely excavated, all the stumps that are there. I think there's 55 stumps there grinding in this project. And there's also waterings included in the bid. So there will be additional waterings once the trees are planted, and of course they'll be double staked, and they'll all have 15-gallon gator bags on them. The waterings downtown are going great. I drive through the town every morning on my way to work at about 10 after 5, and I see the guy in his cart going around. He's filling gator bags. He's watering plants. So he's out there every morning, and it's getting done. I see it, so that's a good thing. Root guards are going to be put on the trees, not only in the central business district, but now they're going to start planting them for residential trees. So it is a plastic shield that will be angled away from the tree and towards the sidewalk. The thought is that when the roots are growing, they hit this shield and it directs them down deeper into the soil and underneath the sidewalk. So in the future, there should be less tree and sidewalk confrontations. And also this year, there were 25 trees saved by bump outs or round outs or ramp overs or a combination of the two or whatever you want to call it. So they're mature trees that are already, providing shade and a benefit to the residents. So the ones that we plant are, 2-inch calipers, 6 to 7 feet, and they start growing from there. So to save these trees is an expense saved in having to take them down, having to plant new trees, and then having to wait 10, 15, 20, 50 years for a tree to get as big as it does. So again, a number of trees have been saved, and all this activity is going to happen today. This council allocated $630,000, I believe, to the Shade Tree Department this year, which covered the downtown, the plantings, the taking down of trees, everything that you're going to see around town. And when I first got on the Shade Tree Commission, we weren't planting any trees in the village of Ridgewood. There's actually a moratorium on tree planting because so many trees came down in Hurricane Sandy and Irene, and it was a hard fight. The first year I was on the commission, we really weren't doing anything because there were no trees to be planted, and that year we got 25 trees. And we said, well, that's a start. So here we are more than 8 years later, and up to this point, I believe the village has planted somewhere around 1,400 trees. And, it's a testament to the work of our Shade Tree Department, Parks, our village manager, and especially the Shade Tree Commission, led most of this time by our chair, Andrew Lowry. He's, all the members that we've worked with, past and present, have been very enthusiastic about trees. They've really worked hard to push these initiatives and get things done. They come to the budget hearings. They rally around trees. They gain our support, and they've gained the support of the residents. And I think is one thing that everybody in the village of Ridgewood could kind of come together and agree on. And even though we disagree about so many other things, people like trees, and it's always a good thing. And I'm honored to have worked with everyone as long as I have on the Shade Tree Commission. I've really seen it grow and blossom into what it is today. And I think I've used too many tree puns at this point, so I'm going to cut it, and that's all I have to report.
So I'm just going to mention a little commentary about the trees. In 2014, when we were divvying up the newly elected council, newly seated council, we were divvying up committees, municipal land use boards, all the jobs that everyone has to take, 4th of July committee. 4 of us actually went for all the things we wanted, and the only thing left, the quiet man in the room, was the deputy mayor. And the only thing left on the table were green things, trees, Green Ridgewood, REACT, anything green was left on the table. He said, okay, Mike, that's yours. And I have to say, Mike did not mention himself in giving credit where credit is due, because the deputy mayor has been the absolute tree advocate, And he had always said, we have to get the trees, and we found the money for the trees. And I think that the deputy mayor really is owed the thank you, the gratitude, because I think without you being there, driving that and steering it initially very early on, I don't think we would have had all those trees planted. So, and to this council and to our last council, because everybody really committed to that tree budget. So thank you to you. Okay, two things. I'm going to just go back a second. The master plan, I know Denise Lima asked about it, Councilwoman Perrin asked about it. So the master plan committee is just finalizing our last-minute edits. An email went out to see if anyone had edits. It is a huge document, the master plan committee, which includes myself, Richard Joel, who's the chairman of the planning board, Melanie Huban, who is a class 3 member of the planning board, and Diane O'Brien, who's a member of the planning board and also Historic Preservation Commission. We've been on this committee for a number of years together. We are right there, ready to put it out into the world as a draft, but we are just giving it one more review for any typos, any little corrections, little tidying it up. That email went out this morning, and everyone is just scouring it one more time. So it is a huge document, it's a beautiful document, and it's a very exciting document. So it's kind of like a little bit of a tease there, I know, but we're getting there. As far as Shedler goes, I just wanted to comment on the village manager's comment. I'm excited about where we're at with that. I just want to remind everyone who's watching that the Shedler application, because it is under the jurisdiction of the State Historic Preservation Office, they have to review this and approve. And I think that one of the things we avoided in all of this was any kind of encroachments or anything, which was a huge feat that we've managed to do this. But last year we did make a decision and to trifurcate the application to make it a little bit more manageable for SHPO, and immediately we were able to move forward at this point with the berm, the house, and we anticipate in very short order, God bless you, in very short order that the she's going to sneeze again. In very short order that the field and the rest of it will be approved, and we will be moving forward. We have money already allocated for that, so we're really excited. Historic Preservation Commission meets tomorrow night in the Garden Room with 2 applications on the agenda. A sign application for Montana Barber Shop, which will be moving into 136 East Ridgewood Avenue. And the second application is for, I'm going to apologize if I mispronounce, but I think it's Kenya Flower Shop, is a proposed color change to a previously approved sign, along with a proposed blade sign. I want to just say we have a blade sign ordinance. I think it's a wonderful opportunity for the Central Business District to add that kind of historic ambiance. And every time somebody comes in with an application to Historic Preservation Commission, I encourage them, I beg them, I ask them to put a blade sign. So we have one, and I'm really excited, and we'll try and get Montana Barber to do the same. Since I'll be attending my mother's surprise 86th birthday, I will not be attending tomorrow night's meeting, so Joe Saplicki will be graciously handling the minutes for me. So I want to say happy birthday to my mother, also a Ridgewood resident, although it's really not a surprise anymore. And finally, I just want to remind everyone to mark their calendar October 7th, 8th, and 9th, which is Access Ridgewood Disability Awareness Weekend. Our Access Committee is working tirelessly on the programs. There are lots of programs, senior programs, children concert, the fashion show, which everybody loves the fashion show. It features several children with various abilities modeling their favorite outfits, and the event will likely include also a brief video presentation. We have a community fair, and the weekend is wrapped up with a beautiful religious service, an inclusive service led by Pastor Joanne Van Zandt at Friends to Friends Community Church at 303 Prospect Street. It's really just a wonderful, wonderful weekend, and it celebrates our members that are differently abled, members of our community. So it's a really exciting weekend, and I think that is all I have. And with that now, we will go to our ordinances. Ready? Very good. I move the first reading of Ordinance 3916.
Second.
Perrin,
Yes.
Reynolds,
Yes.
Seaton,
Yes.
Vagianos,
Yes.
and Newton.
Yes, so ordered. Will the clerk please read Ordinance 3916 by title?
An ordinance to amend Chapter 265 of the Code of the Village of Ridgewood, Vehicles and Traffic, at Section 265-66, Schedule 16, no stopping or standing.
I move that ordinance 3916 be adopted on first reading and that September 7th, 2022 be fixed as a date for the hearing thereon.
Second.
Perrin,
Yes.
Reynolds,
Yes.
Seaton,
Yes.
Vagianos.
Yes.
And Newton.
Yes, I move the first reading of ordinance 3917.
Second.
Perrin,
Yes.
Reynolds,
Yes.
Seaton,
Yes.
Vagianos,
Yes.
and Newton.
Yes, so ordered. Will the clerk please read ordinance 3917 by title?
An ordinance to amend Chapter 265 of the Code of the Village of Ridgewood, Vehicles and Traffic, at Section 265-36, parking prohibited certain hours.
I move that ordinance 3917 be adopted on first reading and that September 7th, 2022 be fixed as the date for the hearing thereon.
I second the motion.
Perrin,
Yes.
Reynolds,
Yes.
Seaton,
Yes.
Vagianos,
Yes.
and Newton.
Yes, I move the first reading of ordinance 3918.
Second.
Perrin,
Yes.
Reynolds,
Yes.
Seaton,
Yes.
Vagianos,
Yes.
and Newton.
Yes, so ordered. The clerk please read ordinance 3918 by title?
An ordinance to amend Chapter 265 of the Code of the Village of Ridgewood, Vehicles and Traffic, at Section 265-42, reserved parking spaces, and Section 265-54, Schedule 4, one-way streets, and Section 265-69, time limit parking.
I move that ordinance 3918 be adopted on first reading and that September 7th, 2022 be fixed as the date for the hearing thereon.
Second.
Perrin,
Yes.
Reynolds,
Yes.
Seaton,
Yes.
Vagianos,
Yes.
and Newton.
Yes, I move the first reading of ordinance 3919.
Second.
Perrin,
Yes.
Reynolds,
Yes.
Seaton,
Yes.
Vagianos,
Yes.
and Newton.
Yes.
I'll read the title. An ordinance to amend Chapter 265 of the Code of the Village of Ridgewood, Vehicles and Traffic, at Section 265-59, Schedule 9, stop intersections.
I move that ordinance 3919 be adopted on first reading and that September 14th, 2022 be fixed as the date for the hearing thereon.
Second.
Perrin,
Yes.
Reynolds,
Yes.
Seaton,
Yes.
Vagianos,
Yes.
and Newton.
Yes, I move the first reading of ordinance 3920.
Second.
Perrin,
Yes.
Reynolds,
Yes.
Seaton,
Yes.
Vagianos,
Yes.
and Newton.
Yes, so ordered. Will the clerk please read ordinance 3920 by title?
An ordinance to amend Chapter 265 of the Code of the Village of Ridgewood, Vehicles and Traffic, at Section 265-59, Schedule 9, stop intersections.
I move that ordinance 3920 be adopted on first reading and that September 14th, 2022 be fixed as a date for the hearing thereon.
I second the motion.
Perrin,
Yes.
Reynolds,
Yes.
Seaton,
Yes.
Vagianos,
Yes.
and Newton.
Yes. I move the clerk read ordinance 3914 by title on second reading and the public hearing, wait a minute. Oh, thereon be open.
Second.
Perrin,
Yes.
Reynolds,
Yes.
Seaton,
Yes.
Vagianos,
Recused.
and Newton.
Yes, will the clerk please read the title of ordinance 3914?
Sure. Hold on one sec. An ordinance to amend Chapter 190 of the Code of the Village of Ridgewood, Land Use and Development, at Article 10, zoning.
Okay. The planning board has not yet reviewed this land use ordinance as required by law, so the public hearing on ordinance 3914 will be continued to the public meeting of September 14th, 2022. The public hearing on ordinance 3914 has been advertised for this evening, so anyone wishing to comment on this ordinance may do so at this time or wait until September 14th, 2022 to make comments or make comment at both public meetings. At this time, the public hearing on ordinance 3914 is now open. Okay. I move the public hearing on ordinance 3914 be continued to September 14th, 2022.
Second.
Perrin,
Yes.
Reynolds,
Yes.
Seaton,
Yes.
Vagianos,
Recused.
and Newton.
Yes. I move the clerk read ordinance 3915 by title on second reading and the public hearing thereon be open.
Second.
Perrin,
Yes.
Reynolds,
Yes.
Seaton,
Yes.
Vagianos,
Yes.
and Newton.
Yes. Will the clerk please read the title of ordinance 3915?
a bond ordinance amending the title and Section 3A of Bond Ordinance Number 3813 of the Village of Ridgewood in the County of Bergen, New Jersey, finally adopted September 9, 2020, in order to amend the description of the project.
Okay. The public hearing is now open. Okay. No one? No takers? Okay. I move the public hearing be closed.
Second.
Perrin,
Yes.
Reynolds.
Yes.
Seaton.
Yes.
Vagianos.
Yes.
And Newton.
Yes.
I move that ordinance 3915 be adopted on second reading and final publication as required by law.
Second.
Perrin.
Yes.
Reynolds.
Yes.
Seaton.
Yes.
Vagianos.
Yes.
And Newton.
Well, before I vote, I just want to say thank you to the residents for coming tonight, and I appreciate your patience. I was grateful for the opportunity to just even think that we had this money sitting there and the opportunity to rename it and to reallocate it. So hopefully this will resolve many of those issues. So thank you again for your patience, and yes.
The following resolutions, number 22-275 through 22-293, will be adopted by a consent agenda with one vote by the Village Council. They will be read by title only. Title 59, approval, furnishing and delivering crossing guard services. Award contract, furnishing and delivering crossing guard services. Award contract, firefighter bailout systems. Award sole source contract, SCADA system software support, water pollution control facility. Award contract under county contract, purchase and installation of fencing at Graden Pool parking lot. Award contract under county contract, striker power load for ambulance. Award contract under county contract, manhole frames and watertight covers. Award contract under state contract, laser fiche upgrades. Award contract under state contract, police car cameras. Award contract under state contract, police ammunition. Award contract under state contract, firefighter turnout gear. Award contract under Houston Galveston Area Council Cooperative Purchasing Ambulance. Authorized shared services agreement, snow plowing services with Bergen County. Authorized execution of memorandum of understanding, comprehensive cancer control plan, New Jersey Cancer Education and Early Detection Program, tuberculosis control, and public health emergency preparedness program with the Bergen County Department of Health. Authorized submission of application for American Rescue Plan firefighter grant, Chapter 159, accept Bergen County Department of Health Services Municipal Alliance Grant Program. Authorized correction to 2022 budget, transfer of funds to provide for Municipal Alliance grant matching funds. Declare property surplus, various vehicles and equipment, and appoint members to Central Business District Advisory Committee. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Perrin,
Yes.
Reynolds,
Yes.
Seaton,
Yes.
Vagianos,
Yes.
and Newton.
So before I vote, I just wanted to, last week when we discussed the, that stretcher, I think that I was asked actually by a member of the public about that, and I just wanted to make clear that it was purchased in just a few years ago, and but the chief did send us an explanation, and so we're good to go with that, I believe. So I just wanted to make sure that everyone understood that information was accurate, that I provided, that it was just purchased a few years ago, 2018, I believe. Okay, so yes.
Well, we have some EMS people here.
Okay, so I'm voting yes, and with that, we will, my vote was the last vote, so I just wanted to add that. With that, we'll go to comments from the public, not to exceed 5 minutes per person.
Good evening, Boyd A. Loving, 342 South Irving Street. Sitting at home relaxing, but the manager's comments about water conservation prompted me to get out of my easy chair and come over tonight. And this is my third time here to remind you that there is currently an exemption in place. It's an exemption, not an ordinance, that was created by Ridgewood Water that enables people who have smart controllers to water up to 10 hours a day, 7 days a week. In my mind, that does not promote water conservation. It does not at all. The intent of the smart controllers was to water only when water was necessary. However, as a result of the heat wave and the lack of rain, That means those systems are going off much, much more often than those systems that a poor man like me has, where I am restricted to watering 2 days a week and a minimal number of hours. Again, this is not by ordinance. This is an exemption that was created by Ridgewood Water. Therefore, it is my position that the manager has the power to tell Ridgewood Water right now to stop that. We're in a drought season here. We're lacking water. There is no reason at all that that exemption should remain in place. The council does not have to meet, does not have to pass a resolution. The manager has the power to do this. That exemption was not created by council action. In fact, if I must say, I think many of you on the council didn't even know that that exemption was in place. Therefore, I am suggesting that, effective immediately, the manager direct Ridgewood Water to end that exemption and to tell the people who have smart controllers that they are restricted to the same watering restrictions that those of us who don't have smart controllers have. And that is, if you're on the even side of the street, you can water on Wednesdays and Sundays. If you're on the odd side of the street, you can water Tuesdays and Saturdays. Period. The end. It makes it very easy to enforce. As Councilman Reynolds indicated, you drive around town right now, you can't tell, people are watering, you don't know whether they have a controller or not. People are not putting up the signs that they're required to put up. Many people are not registering as they're supposed to register. And I love Mr. Calby, but he was here the other night and he couldn't give any evidence that smart controllers save water. There's no evidence, so I don't know why that exemption was created in the first place. I fail to understand why the installation of a smart controller enabled somebody to water anytime they wanted to, basically. I'm sorry, 10 hours a day, 7 days a week, and the rest of us are limited to 2 days a week with very limited hours. I think it's maybe 4 or 5 hours. 4 hours. So, again, my position is that the manager has the power right now to end it. The council doesn't have to wait until the next meeting to go through this. We're in almost a crisis situation with respect to the availability of water. It's time to stop the madness. Ann Burton Walsh was here before and talked about private contractors taking down trees. I would just remind the council that the Parks and Rec Department hired a private contractor due to the amount of tree work that was necessary. So if somebody is seeing a private contractor take down a municipal tree, it may be a contractor that was hired by the village. So before everybody gets worried about a lot of people taking down trees that they're not supposed to, just remember there is a private contractor who is authorized to take down village trees. Thank you.
Thank you, Boyd.
And stay cool.
Anyone else for public comment? Okay. No? All right. No.
Steve Garbatow, Beauty Club and Boutique, 46 East Ridgewood
Steve,
Avenue.
could you just pull the microphone down and speak into it? Thank you.
Should I say it again?
I think I got that part. Do you want
Okay.
to go ahead? Start again. It's okay.
Last week, the sidewalk sale was probably as good as it could get due to 100-degree weather. I'm sure if it was nicer weather, it would be great. Just made a comment. It was great. We'd love to do more of them. The only thing I have to say now is we haven't been doing outdoor dining this whole year on the streets. I think the restaurants are way down. I know my business is affected by the restaurants. When they do good, I do good. But my question is, the people that don't participate, the retailers on the street, how's their business this year compared to last year? That's it. I think they're way down. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment? All right, I'm going to close public comment, and I just want to respond to Mr. Loving's comments. We did, it is a provision that's part of the permit. If I'm going to recall this because we did look into where the exemption is. It's part of the permit for the smart controller. I don't know, Heather or Matt, if you want to speak to that. I think that's, we looked into it, and that's what it is.
I'm not sure that that's what it is. I thought we were waiting for a little bit more information from.
Yeah.
We are. We're waiting
We're
for more
waiting for-
information.
Yeah, we're waiting for additional information about the smart control of residences, but I think just in terms of the exemption itself, it's part of that permit that they created. So I just want you to know that I did look into it, and we're waiting for that additional information. So very good. With that, we'll take a resolution to go into closed session.
Well, I'm just curious to know why the EMS people are here.
I don't know why they're here, but they had an opportunity to speak if they wanted to, so we're going to, no, we closed public comments, so we're taking a resolution to go into closed session. I don't know why Eric's here, or I don't know. Okay, all right.
Be resolved by the Village Council of the Village of Ridgewood that the Village Council meet in closed session on August 10th, 2022 at 8 p.m. or soon thereafter as a matter on the agenda can be reached, and that said closed session be held in the caucus room on the fourth floor of the Ridgewood Village Hall, 131 North Maple Avenue, Ridgewood, New Jersey. Be it further resolved that the matters to be discussed in closed session are limited to contract negotiations, peace library lease, and possible acquisition of property. These matters are allowable under NJSA 10:4-12 et sec. And be it further resolved that the minutes of this meeting shall be made available to the general public when such matters have been deemed completed by resolution of the Village Council. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone
No.
opposed?
Opposed.
Okay. And anyone else opposed?
Nope.
Okay. Thank you.
They looked like they wanted to talk. I know. Why didn't she? Let them talk. It's public comment. I don't know why she shut them down. It's discourteous. Why would you do that to our own employees? Well, they're not even employees. They're volunteers. What's the point of that? Pardon?